Hey everybody, welcome to week 13. We have a lot of information to go through, so I'm just going to share my screen so you can see what I am talking about. So here we are in the modules page, and when you click on the week 13 overview, it's going to look a bit different. You've already seen that because you're accessing this video. This is the layout that I typically use for my online classes, my online asynchronous classes, and it's broken down on one single page rather than having a whole list of overwhelming links and resources that I just kind of plop into Canvas, which I tend to do with my face-to-face classes because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I think we could use this resource or this might be helpful to help build somebody's understanding. But typically for my online classes, this is how I go about doing things. So we have a section for information, which just kind of introduces you to what is going to be covered for the week, as well as some weekly objectives that we hope to reach at the end of the week, both through the learning resources as well as the assignments that we have for the week. Then I have a list of reading sources. This week, we have using sources from the Writer's Practice, which I'll talk about briefly. There's also a module from the University of Mississippi Rhett Lab on using sources. So click through that, and in case you don't understand anything else that you've gotten through the lectures, the video lectures that I'm providing for you. And just to refresh your memory of what you are writing about for the problem solution argument, you can take a look again at pages 163 to 172 in the Writer's Practice. Why am I so angry and what can I do about it? There are two additional resources that will help you with the nuts and bolts of citation and working with sources. That first one is a PDF that I recommend that you download and save to your computers because it'll be a handy resource in future classes. That one is documenting sources in MLA style 2021. It's a 45-page document, not that you have to read through the whole thing. It's just a resource for you to look up information. Conversely, you can also look up MLA citation things on the Purdue OWL website. And I know that you're familiar with that because we've used it in class. I've shown it to you before. And I've also copied and pasted links into feedback on writing. The second resource here is Citation Machine. I'm going to open it up, and I have an accompanying video that walks you through how to use Citation Machine to generate a citation. Typically, we'll be working with websites because you're using predominantly electronic sources. So you would click on website and then you just put in the URL for the website and you go through search. Again, the video explains it in greater detail, things that sometimes you have to do and go in and edit in some of those elements that the citation generator pulls up. But most often it is a very good way to help with the citations. Since MLA citation changes frequently, it's good to know how to access a resource that can help you generate citations. So that's Citation Machine. Let's head back to the overview. So as I said, there's a lot of information and it is all presented in video. These videos were recorded in the past year and a half when I started working with UC Claremont and offering predominantly online classes. So it's roughly about an hour's worth of viewing, including this video. The longest video, you can go through the chapters. It has chapter headings so that you can skip through the video to get to the material that you really need. You can also watch that video on fast forward or high speed to get you through those areas where sometimes I pause because I'm trying to find something to share on my screen. And it was just, instead of editing that stuff out, I just left it in. Maybe someday I will go back and actually edit out, but editing videos is a time-consuming process. So sometimes I don't focus so much on that kind of nitpicky stuff. There is a crash course video on citations and quotes. I recommend that you watch this one only because I make reference to it and to the things that they tell you. There's an acronym that's called SWAG relating to the things you need to keep in mind when you are citing a source. So I make reference to that in the attribution of sources video. But then there's also, as I said before, using a citation generator, using citation machine. And then there is another brief video on MLA citation tips. This video, the last one, is just kind of hitting the highlights of things that you've seen in class before, and it will help to refresh your memory. Like when you're working in Academic Search Complete, you're like, oh, how do I get the citation? I remember she went over that in class. So you can look at this video, get your mind refreshed, and be like, oh yes, that's how we do it. I also provide some tips on how to work with formatting in your MLA Works Cited page. So that's that. Attribution of sources, I also talk about Works Cited in that video, I believe. And again, Works Cited will also be an issue that is covered in the documenting sources in MLA Style 2021, as well as probably the using sources module from the University of Mississippi Rat Lab. Okay, so what we're required for this week as far as writing assignments is an in-class writing number 9, which is essentially just a warm-up journal prompt, but it's a writing activity that will get you to think about things, how you approach problems, how you approach solutions, that kind of thing. And then we have the essay number 6, discovery draft. So the rough draft for essay number 6, it is important that you remember this draft will then be assigned for peer to review. Canvas assigns the peer reviews randomly. I usually can go in and override that, but it's easier just to have Canvas assign it. So once you complete a draft, you will then have a peer draft assigned to you. Sadly, this only works if everybody submits a draft. Not that it won't work if not everybody, but what I mean, ideally, everyone submits a draft, so then everyone gets a peer draft to review. If you don't submit a rough draft, you're not going to get a draft to review, so you won't be able to take part and receive credit for the peer review assignment. So it's really important that you get at least a little bit of something drafted and submitted so that we have something to work on with you. So again, essay number 6 is the problem solution essay that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. So yeah, that is essentially all of the assignments and all of the information. There will be next week information on peer review, how to do that in Canvas. I'll have a whole video devoted to that so that you understand how to do it. It's really easy once you learn how to do it. It's easy to me because I've been providing feedback all along on student work. But once you learn the features of Canvas and how you can actually submit peer review in several different ways, it can be quite easy. So that is it for the overview. If you have any questions relating to any of the materials, please don't hesitate to contact me. That's why I'm here. I don't want you to feel like you're suddenly all on your own because we've transitioned for these last few weeks to an asynchronous delivery. But I don't want you to feel lost. So please reach out to me or reach out to Dawn if you're more comfortable reaching out to Dawn, and we'll get things worked out. Okay, I will finish and say goodbye. Take care, everybody. Have a good week.